So if I could first introduce Professor Kidong Bae, who is Professor Emeritus at the Department of Archaeology at Hanyang University and is also the former director of the National Museum of Korea. His paper today will be on social change in the 21st century and paradigm shifts in future archaeology.
Good afternoon. May I take off my mask? First of all, thank you very much for your invitation to Professor Lee Sung-ju, who is Dean of the Humanity in Kyungpook National University. And I have to say thank you to the President Hein. Sorry, I haven't seen you, so I will exchange my names with you after this meeting. Today, my talk is, I think it is posted, Future Archaeology in Digital Age. I think this is very exceptional to this kind of a conference, not only in the SEAA, but with some other international archaeology conference too. Yeah, if in the previous presentation, you can see very fine, very well organized based on the current result of Chinese archaeology. However, this is a kind of a suggestion for our archaeology, not only in East Asia, but for the global scale too. As I'm the Paleolithic archaeologist. When I was asked by the Professor Lee to give a keynote talk here, so I thought I can do. Recently, I published a book of human evolution and the Paleolithic archaeology in Asia overall. So, but next thinking was, who's gonna listen to Paleolithic here? So I changed my mind, So as old guys, I think I can do some crazy suggestion for the archaeologists, to change the mood of a conference to a very funny story and a funny suggestion here. So, yeah, if you don't like it, you can sleep, or you can enjoy anyway. So you are plotting your imagination in the real world and the digital space here. So I prepared some PPTs, but the PPTs are not well organized. So, but you can enjoy that. Yes. Let me move to the PPT and move to my text to several times. So we are all archaeologists here. So archaeology based on the object from the site is what kind of material composed that things. Then is you can divide the chronology and the kind of archaeology. So when you look at the human history, so we are usually divided the chronology based on the materials. So first thing is stone tools and lithics. I don't think the prehistoric Paleolithic people only used stone tools, but they used some wooden piece or some other the bones and the horns. But anyway, so we are saying Stone Age. So that's a stone. Then next one is clay, so making potteries. And then is metal coming in the early stage of civilization. Then, what is a new materials? Anyway, digital and also kind of plastics. So there's new age, and I think we need to prepare for the age of for the digital age in archaeology too. So it's gone. I put some the stone tools here. Anyways, this is digital. I took the picture from the what is the movie? Yeah, everybody knows that movie. So it's 3.3 million years ago. Archaeologists found the earliest the stone tools up to now. Archaeologists found, and then now different material we are using for everyday life. So we need to prepare for the archaeology of this age for the future archaeologist. Okay, so you can see quite a different pattern of behavior in this age, in this digital age. So yeah, most of you here is less than 60 years old. Anyway, you are very get used to the digital age. However, when I was young, I'm a little bit older than you, as at that time, so we don't have even the radio. We didn't have, so there's quite a different age we are living, and the different material culture, and the basic thing is there are different space we are acting. So archaeologists, we need to document collecting data of human behavior, not only real world, but also the cyber world. And we should do analyze, and so we need to prepare for the next generations. So that's up to there. I will read some of my text. Yeah, Korean professors, if they are given the microphone, then it's endless talking. So I have to stop somewhere, and I summarize quickly. So that just save time for you. New age and the mission of archaeology. Modern archaeology has changed the human life dramatically. That has never been imagined in human history. Digital innovation took place less than a century ago, but artificial intelligence in our living and the working will change way of our thinking and the lifestyle to totally different dimensions from the past. Not only one's lifestyle, but social behavior and the structure has been transformed tremendously due to faster development of digital technology. Technological and the social changes are so fast that we may not adapt properly. We have been challenged to make sustainability of society by unbalanced development of technology and its dark side, such as inequality in each society. In human history, new technological innovation brings great advantage for human in adaptation to their environment. But we have learned that the human also suffered from the cultural and the social changes, if not prepared well, because every change has some unexpected negative effect to people in the society. Digital innovation would not be exempted in this regard in future. Human society will be challenged by the dramatic development of digital culture in near future, and will need to find solution to improve adaptive ability to our new environment as done throughout the human history. What archaeologists can do for this in current ongoing rapid cultural evolutions. Material object and archaeology. Archaeology is a science to reconstruct the people's thinking culture from object, but materialized object left by man in the past. Archaeologists try to find ancient mind and the creative thinking to receive their problems, resolve their problems, and to explain diverse patterns of cultural processes. Materials that humans use for their life have been changed in their frequency of presence by introduction of a new material with a new technology which enable human to create better life. Stone and the clay were began to be used in prehistoric time, while metal objects were made for the sharp and the strong edge to improve efficiency since the first introduction at the time of early civilization. In modern days, plastic and the semiconductor have been introduced and a very common material for daily use. It brings a totally different world and will make extraordinary one in future beyond the imagination of a human being in the past. It is often considered that the last century may not be the time range for archaeologists, even though some archaeologists are doing research of modern material culture as a part of historical archaeology. However, cultural change in this last century is so fast, so rapid, and dramatically profound that we have not experienced such a volume and the kinds of social cultural change in our recall of human experience. It can never be compared with the ones in our past. We may say that human history can be divided into two periods, before and after emergence of digital technology. We are living in new archaeological age of digital. Archaeology in digital age. It is getting more and more common to be used to digital archaeology in archaeological field. Digital archaeology, cyber archaeology, etc., are often mentioned for archaeological subfield as archaeological subfield using digital technology for researches and visual reconstructions. Advanced digital technology in mapping and scanning improves greatly quality of archaeological data for improved analysis and the accessibility for researcher and even ordinary people too. It provides a so fine image and the data to be analyzed easily, otherwise impossible. It can be said that the introduction of advanced digital technology to archaeology is a remarkable revolution in history of archaeological research. However, archaeological pursuit of material electron residue in digital equipment has not been attempted in depth yet. Electron configuration is formed in accordance with the human thinking and the behavior. In this regard, archaeological research should be done for keeping record and tracking patterns of human behavior in digital system. Otherwise, we may lose great part of modern human culture in digital age. Currently, diverse human behavior leaves digital configuration as a material object that modern archaeology should collect data and analyze. More and more advanced technologies such as metaverse becomes common in digital communication with improved engagement to entertain and to make a better selection for one's daily life. It implies explosive use of the technology in our daily life in future. Human behavior in cyberspace is expanding more and more, of course, coupling with the following actions in natural world. Okay, you can see some this is kind of image how the digital network is with some people all over the world. And this picture shows, the school teacher in early 20th centuries. There are lots of information that they have, but they would like to compact through the digital and put the student connected with the electronics and push the electronic data into the head of brain of children. This is drawn in the early 20th centuries. So, the growing size of information and the student should learn. So we need to provide some ways of, condensing the information and easy to learn and easy to analyze. So since the invention, discovery of the electronics, so people already thinking about that, and the result were coming is the modern digital technologies. So, cyberspace. Everybody knows about the cyberspace. So we are living, we are sitting in the natural world, but you can see the cyberspace in many movies in the science fictions, and the tangible sense of working in hardware and also virtual. the hardware that is a real world, but is in the within the system. It's a kind of virtual space there. Information stored, communicated is the function of the cyberspace, interconnected, and the computer system itself. That is, you can understand that. Also, not only communication is in the cyberspace. You can work. You can work. You can design, and you can drawing. Anyways, that's different from the situation in the natural world. However, you can work and you can create some image and the knowledge there. So if the electronics gone, then you don't have anything. So even though there were kind of human behavior. So creation of design and template for production in real world. However, in digital age, we have some side effect of the good technology of digital. So localized user pattern, online community for sharing, open and closed, open and closed. So yeah, in real world too, so we have some groups, very closed groups. There are many world internationally very bad closed society too, but online too. That's a kind of another problem, very similar to the society in the real world. And the cultural dominance and the cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, that you can see every society. There are so many noise in the internet systems and weakening job security. So digital and AI, so is provide some kind of efficiency in productions. So is those kind of things replace the human labor. So is a weakening job security, violation of privacy, that increasing mental disorders, because human being cannot live in the cyberspace. But you can have some funds and you can have some efficiency in working in cyberspace. However, also you need some touch and emotional the exchange in real world. So if you focus your time on the cyberspace, you may have some mental disorder, something missing in your mind. So there is a problem of cyberspace. So even though we are living inside the digital world, we have to think about the human life. So the archaeologists have to prepare our descendant to suffer some kind of problems from the digital age, in the digital age. So now is since the development of the digital, and now is AI is everywhere. I think some systems in your phone too have some AI, and the AI growing and expanding to every corner of our life, our society. So it's more convenient, but there are some side effects that I mentioned in previous slide. So, okay. Now is AI it comes to some kind of emotional sector of our life. So that is some pet robot first created by Japanese scientists. So it helped the older people, not being the feeling of isolations, and also very deep, some kind of man and woman's relations too is replaced by the robots. Okay, I'm back into the archaeology. So okay, the digital technology in archaeology very, very convenient, very efficient, and very exact. So this one shows, the virtual reality, provide a means of teaching the very scientific principles. And on your left-hand side, the other one is, some kind of the museum exhibitions with the digital technology, very fancy and very impressive ones. That is, you can see in the museum. And so the left-hand side one, there is a Köln, the Notre Dame after disaster, fire disaster. So is scanning all the buildings, 3D scannings, and help the reconstruction process. This one is still going on. On your right-hand side, that is a kind of a cathedral. destroyed by the Russians the last year, and all the archaeologists, architects, they made a 3D scan of that building, and it helped them to reconstruct afterward this cathedral. So that is a very useful tool for the archaeologists and also for the society to protect the heritage and to reconstruct the heritage. This one is, you are very familiar. I took some the commercial company here, but is all of you may be very familiar when you excavate a site. So is the scannings, form this kind of image, and you can turn around and you can make the sections. So anything you need. But in the previous stage, or if we would like, if we wanted to do this one, is not impossible, and also take so long time. But it's now is the digital tools can do it very short times. So, and this is metaverse created by the National Museum of Korea last year, and is a metaverse that is a real further deep the individual experience into the cyber world. So engagement is much stronger. So this kind of things, is the next stage of the digital use in our society. Is more and more common, and also in archaeology too. So human behavior in cyberspace. Modern human behavior can take place in nature and also virtual space, cyberspace. Since the first invention of cyberspace, activities in the cyberspace have been increased very rapidly for communication, storage, creation, and entertaining, etc. Moreover, metaverse may be the more deeply engaged in the digital system for these purposes. Human behavior leaves some trace in cyberspace as well as nature, but the frequency in cyberspace will be higher and higher as digital technology advances and become universal. Even value systems such as NFT, the NFT, and the digital coins, etc., have been created in cyberspace and more popularly used in the future. Some of the modern behavior leave a trace only in cyberspace. It will be more and more common in future. At present, the cloud system of big databases created by the major digital corporations such as Google, Naver, Katalog provide very rich selections for people's needed. A great portion of human activities from the academic research to marketing, grocery are taken place in cyberspace without any residue in nature. As in Facebook or Instagram, tremendous number of social activities do not leave any trace in nature, but only in cyberspace. What we will have about modern day human life in future. That is the big question we have to ask. Why we have to do archaeology in cyberspace? Archaeology is expected to collect and preserve cultural information of the past. It tries to find the people's thinking and the selective behavior embedded in the archaeological object for reference information for people's intellectual ability to adapt to new environment in future. Long-term provisioning is humans' unique ability that make man evolve up to present day very successfully. We may say that the collection of information and the preserve for future is born nature of a human being for survival, and archaeology is designated for the information in our past that is indispensable for creative adaptation in future. The more information of our past is promising better preparation for unknown future. Digital technology is a new tool for human being. So improve our life toward a new horizon in human evolution. However, development of digital technology also creates social problems: inequality, jobless, psychological disorder, privacy violation, and platform for intellectual crime, etc., which may endanger society in future if getting serious. What human society should do to promise for resolution of social problems in digital society? How to? As we have done in the human history in the past, collection and analysis of information that human being left behind is the key for finding resolution of a potential danger caused by the digital civilization. This is what archaeologists should do and could do as the nature of science. Digital residue or trace of electronic configuration in digital system, which have been left by the human behavior in our very near past, probably one generation or more. I mean, the digital, the age of digital technology can provide the chances and the ability to make observation and to find a unique pattern of a digital site, and to understand the process in the conjunction with the human behavior in nature or real world. It may be too short part for archaeology, but period of most condensed evolution of creative thinking, innovations in human history. Archaeology of current digital site in cyberspace may be incomplete, but development of a methodology should be attempted because overall patterns of human behavior in cyberspace is very different from those in nature. Okay, let me show some. Okay, the person here is Owen Lovejoy, who suggests the hypothesis, very plausible hypothesis of human evolution. He suggests the provisioning hypothesis. That is, provisioning means there is the human society is they do some very unique pattern of behavior, delayed consumption of food, and they collect some information for the future. So collecting some information for the future, that is a kind of provisioning of the ability of human beings. So collection information, that is born nature of human being from the beginning of human evolutions. So that is why human being can evolve up to the current forms. So I prepare this hypothesis to explain the reasoning of human evolution throughout the last 7 million years ago. And I also try to apply this theory as a collecting information throughout the human evolutionary histories. So that is a kind of a collecting information behavior, collecting food behavior. That is a kind of preparing for the future. So, anytime you can recall our grandfather generations. All the people always say something to the grandsons. There is a transmission of information they collected throughout their life. So, it's the whole world as a human being society. So archaeologists, they collect some information of what past human have done. So then we analyze and we abstract some ideas from the archaeological information and make some principle or patterns and transmit to our student, and is transmitted to our descendant to prepare the knowledge, intellectual ability for their future. Okay, so I found this book this is written quite a long time ago. So is all the information we collect make a kind of collective intelligence for the human beings. So we archaeologists are doing everywhere in the globe. They all the knowledge from the other archaeology make a kind of, you know, the human collective information intelligence, and to, you know, understand the past and prepare of the human's future. So now the anthropologists, they do lots of the working on the culture, every field of culture. And this one shows life history. This is one example of culture, field of culture, and that is a kind the practice of their culture in the real world. However, this is transformed, and we are doing same thing in the cyberspace. So the concept is the same, but however, the different behavior taken place in the cyberspace. So another one, and the cultural diversity too. So, you know, we inherited our cultural tradition from our ancestors, and each people, they have some different way of thinking, and they express and they behavior a little bit different on the same kind of behavior. So those kind of the cultural diversity also appears in the cyberspace too. Yeah. Okay. This one shows today's my suggestion. We need to do some the archaeology in cyberspace. Same kind of ideas proposed by the digital scientists of the MIT. They collect all the informations the one day, 1995. So day life in the cyberspace. So what happened in the cyberspace on the day. So that means in the kind of at the certain point of time. So what kind of diversities of behavior in cyberspace. That is a kind of example, but that is kind of ethnographical or anthropological. But for the first times in the past, so that is a kind of the archaeologists have to do something. COVID and the digital culture. In the last 3 years, COVID-19 has driven people in the globe to heavily rely on the digital technology for maintaining their life. Whether people prefer or not, human behavior has been increased beyond the speed that we normally expected in cyberspace. There will be no way for people to live without digital technology in future. Digital behavior is embedded into the deeply in our every moment of our life in everywhere. Missions for archaeologists would be tracking the digital record and the reconstruction of a process and the history of a particular digital culture for human society to get more vivid provisioning for better adaptation to ever faster changing environment of the digital world in future of human. Archaeology for one world. It is time for archaeologists not only to dig the ground or to dive into the sea, but to make a field trip to the cyber world. You may not need to worry about the license of research from the government. As a new academic endeavor, it will bring us more chance to make collaborations and cooperations among the international archaeologists. It would be also crowd working of world archaeologists, not only from the countries in East Asian region. It will bring us more opportunity of sharing knowledge and of discussion about the human history in general. It is fun to find what my father's generation has done in cyberspace. How primitive they are in cyber world. if you can see some your father's doing the cyberspace, then you can see much more. So you are advanced than your father. I would like to express my sincere apology for my naive knowledge about cyber technology to the digital scientists and the engineers. I wish they understand my emphasis about the significance of digital heritage in cyberspace as a new archaeological field for our future. Okay, let me show the final slide here. So, in cyberspace too, I'm trying to show that there are so many selective behavior in the cyberspace. Is showing there are some selection of showing different kind, and also you are selecting some things behind the front of the monitor in cyberspace. So you can store many things. Also, the storing some information. Also, you are selecting, and you're storing the behavior, your behavior, storing some information in the cloud system. And when you recall, also kind of selective behavior. That's a cultural patterns. So the individual pattern and the cultural pattern also occurs in the cyberspace. So it's archaeology needs to pay attention to such the selective behavior in cyberspace. So that I think it's archaeology of cyberspace. If I say the cyber archaeology, then it's a kind of different meaning. Right now, they are using the cyber archaeology, applying to the using technology to the documenting the archaeological processes. So new frontier of archaeology, that archaeology of a cyberspace, a culture in cyberspace. There is a kind of extended space for human life. So everybody living in real world, and at the same time, you are doing some things in the cyberspace. And that is characterized very fast and very massive, ubiquitous. So is the digital technology, make our society more and more and faster changing. So a few days or a few weeks ago, that's a real past in the digital world. So before we late, let's start action for archaeology for future and the archaeology for our the next generations. So many thanks for your attention. Thank you very much.